I'm not letting my financial status stop me. I am selling all my boards. All right, young Groms, so these are the only two surfboards I have in my quiver right now. I have my true and tested Mini Simmons. I have this 7.4 super sick like egg mid-length that Kevin gave me because I broke all my boards and sold them all. And I'm gonna tell you guys how I ended up here having only two surfboards. So when I was younger, I was always trying to get my hands on surfboards, like used ones on eBay or Craigslist. I would sit on Craigslist for hours. I would constantly be trying to find deals and stuff. And luckily I ended up with a lot of surfboards that way. I would buy surfboards, grow out of them, keep them, and kind of take old ones other people didn't want and stuff. So I had like 50 surfboards at my house. You guys know I chased that crazy swell to Iceland. I was so stoked on it, but I went without any money, and I think that's why I scored. I spent all my savings, I put everything down to get a flight, to get housing, to get a rental car. It cost so much money, and I feel like there's a thing when you like give the universe all your money, you're going to score. So we scored epic waves, but when I got back home, financially I was like, had no money, and was in my third year of med school, so I was like, I gotta start selling my surfboards. So I'm gonna tell you guys how I sold them, which boards I sold them, and how much I got them for, and just give you guys tips. So we're gonna jump right into it. The first board I sold was my 6.6 Bunger. And what you want to do if you're selling on Facebook Marketplace or these platforms is you want to put it out there for less than you think it's worth, because it'll just sell, it'll make everything fluid. You don't want to have this board on there for like, you know, months at a time. So I put this 6.6 Bunger out here. It was in really good shape. It was still pretty white. It was a step-up board. I put it up for $200, and you got to make sure you take all the wax off, scrub it, make it look beautiful. You get more for your price there. Next, then I actually sold my 710 gun. I have a 10.6 gun, and I just don't think I needed a 710 gun. You know, living in New York, and I still want to chase big waves. I have a trip planned to go surf some big waves coming up in 2024, which I have my 10.6 for, but I just felt like I had two guns, and even though I love my 710, it was such a good board, and I kind of would have used it for some of these hurricane swells. I ultimately decided to get rid of it. That board Tim made for me, it is so epic. There's so much carbon on it. It's a 710 by 3.5 by 21 inches, and it's got full length carbon and then a bunch of carbon on the bottom. It's epoxy with high density like stringer on it. I tried to sell it for like 800. I tried to sell it for like 850, 600, 500, and ultimately I put it down to 400. And this is because people on Facebook Marketplace, they just don't want an $800 board. Like, even though brand new boards go for like $900 up to $1,000, people just don't want to spend that much money on Facebook Marketplace. I had this board that my dad found, someone was actually throwing it out, and it was just taking up space in my backyard. It was a 9.1 McTavish longboard. It was super dinged up, but it looked beautiful. Like, it had the paint was still really nice on it, and like it just wasn't sun faded at all. So for like a longboard, those definitely go for more than 200 bucks, but I wanted to give it away for $200, and I actually had a seller come up to me. He wanted to buy it, and he wanted to go down to 150. And that's my other strategy, is I stayed firm. I put my prices kind of low, but I stayed firm on them. He was like, the rail's all messed up, and like, yeah, there was some damage there, but I was like, for like a beautiful red longboard, 9 feet long, I just wasn't comfortable selling it for 150. I had already put it so low, so that was my like technique, was I was gonna put it low, but I was gonna be firm there, and just show like confidence in my decision and confidence in the board I was selling. And then I had a lot of interest in that board, so I felt fine being like, dude, I'm not willing to sell this to you for like 150 bucks. And then luckily somebody came by later that day, gave it to me for 200 bucks. Channel Island's new flyer. This was a board I got in the beginning of summer. Whenever you get a board like in the beginning of summer, you just know the thing's gonna take so much beating, because if it's new and it's like, you know, July, you're gonna be riding it all summer, like beating it up. The best time to get a board, I think, is in like October, because it'll just stay nice and white. It'll get used, but it won't be used like every single day. Maybe it won't be used in like conditions that it's too small for. So I had this 6'1" new flyer that I absolutely destroyed when I was in high school. I rode it for like one summer, ripped it to shreds. It got so beat up. I fixed all the dings on it and did a terrible job fixing these dings. That's why I would bring it somewhere like professional, like Nature Shapes. But yeah, I did a number on this board, and it was still white for some reason. It just had all these dings, cracks in it everywhere, and I honestly put that board up for $50. Next, that brings me to a board that I really didn't want to sell. It was my 6'7" Witcher. I loved this board. It was just like this crazy slab board that was like super pinched out. I got it for Honolulu Bay. It was 6'7". It was so much rocker. It was 3 1/4 thick. It was such a radical board, and I miss it so much. But so ultimately, like, kind of made the wrong decision selling the 6'7". Definitely could use it now. Could have used it like maybe at like a slab in like a different country, or like the slabs that I love surfing in New England. It was like the perfect board for that. Really good barrel board. And yeah, ultimately I made the wrong decision selling that, but whatever, I'm moving on. So next, that brings me to my 6'3" Channel Islands Dagger. It was a board that had a buckle in the nose. I actually loved this board. You could really put it on rail, super double concave, like such a sick board. Just ultimately I was way too big for it. It was 6'3", 32 liters. And another board that I just put up for $50, and people were stoked. Like, people were so stoked that I was selling like Channel Islands that were super beat up for $50, because they were just able to like bring it to the shop for like maybe, you know, $100, and for $150 you got yourself a watertight Channel Islands. So I was stoked to see people like building their quiver, and like ultimately I really wanted to get rid of things. Like, I just didn't want to be the guy who had a massive quiver but could never surf because he had to like work to pay off that quiver. I was at a point in my life, and I'm still at a point in my life right now, where I want to have the few things that I need. I want to have like the essentials, and then have a bunch of like epic experiences. I want to travel a lot. I want to like do a lot of like foreign travel. I want to go on surf missions all throughout the East Coast. I want to go to Canada. So yeah, I'm super stoked on travel right now. That's kind of why I sold all my boards. Moving on, I had a Wavestorm. So Wavestorm actually sent me a 5'8" fish because I had a video blow up, and I was just like, hey, I'd love to like ride this board more often. Ultimately, it just ended up being a little too small for me, and I feel like foamy longboards are great, but foamy shortboards and fishes might not be the best thing. So I was trying to sell that for like $100. My friend Alex, who you guys know, is a legend. He puts in so much work for me for free. I just gave it to him for like $50 and was like, dude, rip it up. So, and then I was trying to sell these fins, but then I kind of realized I like these fins, and like if I truly sell everything, I won't be able to surf. So I kept these fins. This is really just shows you where I was and what mental space I was in. I sold my 6'5" Stealth from Iceland, the board that works so well, the board backs. The arc is working so well. The arc is just so fast, and like, it's a good point break board. That was like, I was doing those cranking cutbacks on, and you know, it was so durable. It had a stringer, it had carbon fiber all throughout it. That board will truly last forever. But I gave it to one of the stoked locals around here. His name's Richie, and he was like so hyped up on it. Kind of another thing, it was a brand new board. I only used it for like one trip and a few swells. Super white, it was orange, cost a ton of money to make. I had it up there for like $700, $600, but like no one wants to buy a used board for that much, because if you're spending $700 or $600 on something that's used, even if it's brand new, you kind of like would rather just go to the shop for a few extra $100 and get the real thing. So ultimately I lowered that for $400. And another tip I have for selling boards on Facebook Marketplace is, if it doesn't sell right away, don't leave it up there, like repost it with like a new thumbnail. I reposted it with a new thumbnail, brought the price down to $400, and he jumped on that right away. And I was crying. Like, if you guys see some of this like live action roll I have, as we are saying goodbye to my baby ferret.
Wait, what?
my very favorite surfboard over here. I was literally so upset to sell this board because it just worked great. It was such a good point break board. All right, guys, it breaks my heart to sell these boards, but I got a few more dead presidents. I'm just trying to get closer to chasing my dreams and doing like a proper slab tour around the world. I'd so much rather have these surfboards than, you know, a few $100s more in my bank account, but unfortunately, I'm trading my surfboards for experiences and trying to make my dreams happen. But such a score. I'm glad he's still ripping it. He's actually reached out and said he loves the board, so I'm stoked someone's on it. But yeah, this is like all my boards. And then I got my green board. I loved it. Started ripping on it. I have the Black Beauty. Can never sell that thing no matter what, no matter how broke I am. So I had this great backup board. It was this 6'8" Slater Designs Gamma. And I was like, this board was great because anytime I had like an issue with another board, or I just had another board brought into the shop or something, and there was a swell like within the 2 weeks it was getting repaired, I would ride this 6'8". It was super light epoxy because it was like this faded yellow color, so they gave it to me for $4.99 brand new. I was so stoked on this board. Rode it for like 3 years. Definitely could have used it for the Hurricane Lee swell. But, you know, I sold it and I'm working on a new board with Tim right now. All right, guys, I'm super sad. I'm saying goodbye to this 6'2". It's the first board I ever got from ARC. I absolutely love it, but it's kind of been replaced by some other boards in the quiver. And I kind of beat her up a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one away. It's pretty sad, but I'd rather get closer to going to Indonesia or something like that. Trying to spend my money on experiences rather than just owning a lot of stuff. Yeah, it kind of sucks to give her away. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm trying to save up to go on a big surf trip.
Yeah, where are you going?
I'm trying to do Chile.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you do Iceland?
Yeah. Iceland was awesome.
Yeah, we did Iceland.
A piece of me dies every time because I just love surfboards and like I'm a collector. I'm not just like a surf vlogger and like I love surfing and traveling, but like I also love surfboards. It sucks, but I got $63 in my hand, closer to my goals of going on like a sick around the world slab tour next year. So as you guys know, I'm a 4th year medical student. I'm applying to residencies right now, and I had to do all of that, and I finally got the application in this morning at 3 a.m. It is September 27th today, and yeah, I'm stoked. I officially applied to like a bunch of residencies. So moving on to the second thing is I was pushing it super hard. I had, during the bulk of the Hurricane Lee swell, when everyone flew in, Nathan Florence flew in, Justin Quintel was here, Joel Tudor was out there, Ian Crane, like all these big names were like shredding Lido, and I like wanted to get in on the action, and I was willing to not sleep to do that. So there were 2 days in a row where I worked the night shift, I surfed all day, tried to sleep in my car, woke up the next day, surfed all day again, and then I chased the swell out east. I was starting to get this like shoulder pain going on in my right shoulder that like every time I took a stroke, it would just like really hurt. And I was like trying to research it, and it sounded like a shoulder impingement, but I wanted to be like all like David Goggins, all like super hard work, no days off, and I just kept pushing. The Hurricane Nigel swell rolled in, all my boards were broken. I met up with Clossy, borrowed the 7.4, and I was just having this like severe shoulder pain the whole time I was paddling. And actually, like, you guys saw me get that like sick little barrel / like head dip. I was paddling with my left arm like in between sets, and when I wasn't going for a wave because my right arm was just killing me. And ultimately I kind of figured out that I have like this overuse swimmer's shoulder, or like surfer's shoulder it's commonly called. But I'm looking at this in the positive sense. I have to do a ton of work right now for my rotations, and I don't have any boards to surf. All my boards are broken, so I'm waiting for a new surfboard. I'm waiting for one to get repaired. I'm also trying to get my hands on another shortboard potentially, and I have to work. Today is September 27th. Tomorrow I will start work, and I will work every single day until October 14th. So yeah, I have like so much going on for me. That's why I wanted to make this video, keep you guys updated. I have like a lot of hard work in the future, but I feel like if I had to get injured and if I had to deal with like a ton of work in a row, this is the right time, because like the waves are pumping, which stinks, but like I don't have any surfboards, and I shouldn't really be surfing on my shoulder right now anyway. I've been doing some like physical therapy, been doing a lot of contrast of like heat and cold. Yeah, I'm just trying to get better. Like I'm trying to rest. I'm still running my 1 mile every single day, coming up on day 500. So definitely been going through some crazy times right now. Hurricane season was epic. I'm super stoked that we're seeing some new faces on the vlog. You know, our community is definitely growing. I'm doing my best. I'm taking it one day at a time. And as always, we will see you on the next swell.